Yes, guys, and welcome to a Tuesday edition of the Emotions Room. And as I go live, well, I'm 22 minutes behind, but Man United complete the signing of Baleba. Seems to be that it was 65 million with 5 million in add-ons, so it goes up to 70 million. So 15 million less than Mateus Fernandez. I don't less than Tonali. That means he's 46 million less than Elliot Anderson. And you can kind of see where I'm going with this. I'm obviously dressing this up that this is a fantastic deal. And you know what? On the grand scheme of things, this time last year, we were looking to pay, what was it, 120 million for him? Something crazy like that.
Yeah,
To now
the
get him
what
for
Casado
65 million.
Casado figures. Yeah,
We were looking at Casado figures. To now get him for 65 million seems like a bargain, or does it? And here's where I'm coming from, Dan. Has he been that awful? Has he been that awful last season that his asking price has dropped in half? Is that me being negative here, or is that facts? He wasn't that great last season, injured a little bit of last season, didn't seem like a Brighton favourite last season. He wasn't the best. When he played against us, he wasn't fantastic. Look, I'm happy we're making a signing. And of course, look, here we are. We've just started a show. And the first thing we're talking about is Manchester United have signed Baleba. You know, we haven't even spoken about Hull yet. I've done my own reaction. I'm sure you've done yours. But this is exactly what Ineos want from us, isn't it? For us to
yeah.
like be
Forget
happy
about it.
about, yeah, be happy about the Baleba signing. Forget about Hull. Look forward to Ipswich. It's only the opening game. Mate, I'm absolutely. Look, I'm supposed to intro this show. I'm supposed to intro you. I'm trying to remain calm, but it's absolutely shocking the performance we put in against someone who finished sixth place in the championship last year. And I totally understand that teams come up from the championship, they're at home in front of their fans, and they're fucking up for it. They're hungry. But we don't need to be hungry, do we, Dan, to get a result against Hull?
Shouldn't have to be.
Astonishing performance. And I tell you what, if we go into Ipswich playing the same way, who has got 3 points on the board, I might add, as well, losing our opening two games when we were hoping that would be our momentum builders would be catastrophic. But anyway, I hope you're well, and I'm sorry about that rantful start to the show. Let's start with Belieber, Dan. How are you feeling about that? Are you happy about that signing? Are Ineos pulling the wool over your eyes? Do you feel like it's a good deal?
Yeah, Baleba. Well, the thing is, when we were first after him, so that was last summer transfer window, I was probably excited like most United fans, thinking, oh, cracking player. You know, he's strong, he's young, he's tenacious, he's all these things that you can think about, and he's got so much more that can come along as well because of his age. And then he had a bit of a stinker of a season. So I'm thinking, if we are going to still go for him and give him the benefit of the doubt, then it has to be way lower than the fee that Brighton. I mean, Brighton didn't ask for a fee, but they were putting it out there that they wanted that Caicedo sort of figure. So around that sort of 150, 120 sort of million sort of figure because of his potential and everything in the season he had prior. So I'm thinking after that season, we can't be paying that. I always said as well on these shows that they've got Baleba up their sleeve and they're just going to leave him until they can explore anything else. Now that can sort of tell you something as well in terms of how far he was up the chain of midfielders, because they knew he was easy pickings. They knew he definitely wanted to come to Manchester United, and they could probably get him a bit cheaper than the season before. So they wanted the Tchouameni's before him. You can sort of say that Kone was ahead of him, but then they've gone for Baleba, not Kone. So it's whether that's
Mateus
true or
Fernandez
false.
was ahead of him.
Definitely Fernandez was ahead of him. I think if Tonali didn't have that sort of scandal around him, he'd have been ahead of him as well. Because I'm not sure that we really went for Tonali. So, yeah, going back to your question, or one of your questions in regards to would I have it? I mean, I got to a point where after Fernandez went to Spurs, Tchouameni, we knew that we're just going to be sold absolute dummy with that one, very similar to Frankie de Jong and all that sort of stuff. I thought, I don't want to go back down that sort of line again with these Spanish clubs. I thought you know what? Baleba's up our sleeve. He really wants to come. If I discount his last season and look at the season prior, he has got potential. He is probably the missing profile. I'm not saying he's going to be, because again, I can't forget his last season, but he's the missing profile, or the profile we need when you look at our midfield. So for that reason, I think it's a relatively decent fee when you look at what everybody else is going for. Because again, the younger players with a lot of potential do go for a lot of money these days. So I think it's probably, I mean, I would have been happy to have got him for around that 50 million mark, but I don't think that was going to be realistic.
I mean, I'm reading this now, Dan. Baleba is currently injured, having picked up an ankle.
Yes, he is injured. Yeah, he is injured. Yeah. That'll be our third signing. That is our, not will be, he is, because we signed him. That is our third signing this season. If I'm not mistaken, that's come in injured. Carl Darlow was injured, and probably no, he was on the bench the other day. Carl Darlow came in injured. Tillemans came in injured. Santos came in fit. Well, injury free, but not fit. So yeah, it's just something we've done this season for some reason. So Baleba probably isn't going to be ready until back end of September, probably maybe October. So I don't know about that, but again, we're being told that injury is nothing to worry about. It's just a routine sort of ankle injury, and you'll get over it pretty quickly. So we'll have to see, won't we? Edison didn't have a good medical, so there seems to be something about our signings this time round where they're injured or there's issues around medical. It's a bit weird, this one.
I'm reading some of his
as a profile. I like him as a profile.
I'm reading some of the stats that Sky Sports have put up here. Premier League 2024 to 2025. Possessions won in the middle third. So, I mean, it's obviously not possessions won overall across the pitch, just in that middle midfield area. He was fourth in the Premier League. Interceptions overall, he was fourth in the Premier League.
Is this last season?
This is 2024 to 2025. Is this last season or is that the season before?
Oh, it's the season before that. That's his good season.
Oh, wow. Look at the stats that they've put up here. Yeah, I was just reading that thinking, is that last season? No, because it's 2025 to 20... Because this one will go into 2027. You are spot on. It is last season. Baleba was among the league's leading defensive mids during the 2024-20. Can he revive that form? That's the small print underneath these stats. Yeah. You've got to read the small print, haven't you? Ball recoveries, he was 5th. Duels won, he was 7th. Long passes completed, he was 8th. I mean, it's okay.
I mean, it's not groundbreaking. I think the thing for me is strengths that I'm keen on off the ball, which I don't think there's any dispute in that off the ball in terms of his strength. I mean, they've even started, I don't know how popular this stat is, but they started doing, what do they call it now? Shoulder challenge stats or something along those lines. I've seen this the other day, and it sounds stupid, but he's very good at shoulder-to-shoulder stuff where he comes out on top in that challenge.
Yeah, he's strong,
it's a metric or what, I don't know. But I
don't think I've ever met someone from Cameroon who's not strong, to be honest.
Yeah, but I did say one of the streams, didn't I, that we need I don't know if it was on mine or yours, where we need an African brother.
Yes,
we need an African brother. Not that sounding bad. I don't want to upset anybody, but we need an African brother because they've got good lungs, they've got good energy, they're strong. So I think again this shoulder tackle barge, whatever you want to call it, stat is good at that. Is good at covering space. So if we're hit on the counter, one thing he'll do is he'll get back like Wan-Bissaka almost. Maybe not do that hook tackle, but he'll get back in good position and probably slow down a counter attack against us.
Like you say,
none of that right now.
The profile is there, right?
The profile is there.
That's what we're missing. That sort of box to box. Break up possession, keep things ticking over, and just that energy in the middle of the park that we've missed. We've missed for how long?
We've missed.
And I tell you what, we want to talk about energy.
Who did it last?
And Santos looked like Jesus. They were at the McDonald's drive-through the whole night.
The thing is, it's not their profile. That's the truth. I don't want to make excuses because I think they should have still played better than they did, but it isn't their profile. And I've said it before. I listened to what the Villa fans said. Some of the Villa fans have said, and they've all said Tillemans is excellent, but he needs a Baleba type profile behind him, or he doesn't operate.
Let's see. Let's see how this plays out.
Well,
Look, I'm glad we've made another signing, obviously, and that's what they want us to feel. That's what Ineos want us to feel. And I guess as fans, listen, you have to be happy when you make a signing. The fact that they're showing stats from the previous season of a 22-year-old is very worrying. The fact that we've signed a 22-year-old who is injured is also worrying. His form's been off. He's injured. You know, for all we know, we could be signing an absolute injury-prone dud. I'm not saying that's the case. I hope that's not the case. And I hope he does rekindle that form. He's young. I see why we've signed him. But look, that moves me on to the whole game because I haven't had a proper chance to speak to you about it, right? I mean, what went wrong here in this game? I mean, our team... You talk about Tillemans, you talk about Santos, you talk about Cunha, you could talk about all sorts, right? Our team should be good enough to get a draw against Hull, right? Or if you're going to lose, you know, lose 1-0, you know, and you're peppering the crossbar, you're peppering their goal, their goalkeeper's he's man of the match, right? Lose the game that way. We lost the game to Hull with boring possession that we had, hardly did anything with it, apart from Dorgu having a few sniffs. How he started the game, I do not know. He's not a left winger, for goodness sakes. To bring on Rashford to save the day, someone who's been exiled for X amount of years, God knows. I don't know when Amarim got rid of him now. Seems like ages ago. What went wrong here? Apart from the Hull were up for it.
Yeah, well, Hull were up for it, so that is part of it, because we should have known this, though, because Hull are newly promoted. They're coming up with a lot of confidence because they've had to go through playoffs, and they're going to be up for it. They're at home. It's the first game at home. Of course they are. Nice day. Manchester United coming to town. Let's go for it. We should have been up for that. We didn't match their energy for a start. What was worrying after the game, before I start going through the game as well, is their coach said we watched them 3 times, and we worked out their weaknesses and we exploited it. So basically, what that meant was, and he didn't explain this, but what he meant by that is that if we go man to man, or we surround their key players, which is Bruno, so he were crowded out, and crowd out Santos and Tillemans, they can't do anything. So we'll force them wide and see what they can do down the flanks. Well, down our flanks, we've got Dorgu, or we've got Shaw, or we've got Mbeumo, who's kind of like
and Mazraoui
in that world of being up front,
he doesn't
or a
know,
winger,
does he?
or I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Or we've got Mazraoui that didn't do much, or we've got Dalot that came on. Now, Dalot might have done better when he came on towards the second half, and we played a bit better in the second half. However, they forced us to do that. So ultimately, their plan was to counter-attack us. They did do that a couple of times, but it didn't really work. But then they also knew that from set pieces, we haven't been great at that either. So they've killed us on the set pieces. The first corner, I think it was a corner, the first goal, that goes in. The second free kick, that goes in. We've got Maguire there. Again, all you need to do is make sure that Maguire is...
Make sure you miss him.
Marshall, or miss him. And you sorted, because Shaw's doing nothing at the back post and the front post ain't going to be covered. And for whatever reason, Maguire's not talking to his back line. He's the most experienced and senior person in the team, pretty much. But also in that back line, you've got a youngster at the side of it in Heaven. You've got Shaw that should know better at left back, and you've got Mazraoui at right back. There was one of the goals where he was wrestling at his own player. I don't know which one it was now.
Yeah, I think it was hugging Mazraoui or Mbeumo. He didn't know who he was holding, Maguire. Look,
No.
I take all your points there, Dan, but a team that finished third in the Premier League should not be... Forget losing. Anyone can lose a football match, yeah? But we should not be losing in that manner where we struggle to create, we struggle to look dangerous. We're still showing signs of our midfield being an issue, despite having 2 brand new midfielders in there. We shouldn't be losing in that manner to a team who finished 6th in the Championship.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it just should not. It's unacceptable. And you don't need Luis Enrique to be manager to win that game. You know what I mean?
No.
So I'm not even here saying, Carrick, what the hell's going on? I mean, you beg to question, what have they been doing? And I've been looking at pre-season, and I've been overall happy, apart from the AC Milan game, because that was, I think, a massive warning sign, the AC Milan game.
Well, I think some of what happened there happened against Hull.
Exactly that. They hadn't won a game in pre-season under Amorim, and against us, boo, score 4 goals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, you know, Tielemans said in a pre-season interview that they've not been doing much fitness work. We said about 6 months ago when Carrick took over.
That's concerning.
I said to you, didn't I? I said, you know what? Carrick's taken over a very fit Manchester United team. Partly because, number one thing about Amorim, his team was fit because they were running like fucking headless chickens trying to figure out his formation. That's probably why, right? So Carrick took over a very fit team, and the instructions he was giving them was very simple, and it fucking... I mean, we all saw the Man City game. We all saw the Arsenal game. We all saw was it a Liverpool game as well? Yes. We saw all the games where we looked spectacular, right? But towards the end of the season, we cannot deny it started dwindling a little bit. That football that we were starting, when he first came in, that we were looking like we were playing, had started to dwindle. Then you hear Tielemans in pre-season saying all they've been doing is playing football and doing ball work. Hardly any fitness work. Fuck me. Ball work hasn't been working, that's for sure, because we didn't look great, did we? We didn't look fantastic on the ball.
No, we didn't look fantastic on the ball. We had a lot of it, but we didn't look fantastic. Our
fitness dropped off. We just did. And when I mean dropped off, when you look at a team, don't think, oh, well, they're still running at the end. No, it's intensity. You know, did we really put Hull under extreme intensive Premier League pressure? No. They had harder games last year. 1,000%.
Yeah, of course they did.
What's that about? I just, it's unacceptable, Dan. It is so unacceptable, mate.
Yeah. My point was, if we don't win, you don't lose, especially against a team like Hull. So therefore, you just don't concede those 2 goals. And there's so many different reasons why we've conceded those 2 goals from. I mean, even going back to your fitness comment there. One of the reasons why they got I think it's the second goal, the free kick, was because Tielemans was gassed. And he made a silly tackle because he was gassed.
He got nutmegged, yeah. He looks fat, he looks out of shape, for goodness sake, man. And so does Santos. And I know that's easy to say now after that performance. But they do. They look fat and out of shape. That's what they look like to me. Sorry, they look like they ate Casemiro. That's what they look like they done. You know, we replaced Casemiro with them 2, and they just ate Casemiro together, and that's what we
replaced him. He's still there, but he's inside them. Yeah,
he's inside them. That is it. For goodness sakes, man! I was so angry. It was my dad's birthday that day, right? You know, I'm gonna paint the picture for the 3-4 people that are in here, right? I've got a clean license, thank God. I haven't had points on my license for maybe 8, 9, 10 years. I was on my way home 2 Tuesdays ago, and part of the dual carriageway that I drive home on, Dan, has changed from 70 to 50 recently. But they haven't put cameras up, and listen, I don't take the piss. I usually do maybe about 55, 60. But that morning, I was just knackered. I know where the cameras are. My foot was a little heavier than usual. And listen, to cut long story short, there's a guy with a speed gun on the fucking bridge, right? And I think I slow down in time. Turns out I don't. He's clocked me doing 68 in a 50, which unfortunately 3 months ago would have been under the speed limit because it was a 70, but it's no longer is. Anyway, to cut long story short, God knows what that's going to be. Maybe 6 points and a fine. Only thing that was making me feel better is I got that letter through on the Friday. It was my dad's birthday on the Saturday. I was heading down early, 12:30 kickoff. My daughter's in the Manchester United kit, the one you're wearing now. It's my dad's birthday. Man United are kicking off the Premier League against Hull. Do you know what? Fuck the points. Fuck it all. I can't wait. And to see that shit... You know, to see my dad sitting there fucking going, flipping hell.
And you got more points than Man United.
I got more points than Man United off of this weekend. That's what's happened. And here I am, stressed about it, hoping that these guys that earn 200K a week are going to make my day. I mean, how many families went down to Hull to watch that,
Yeah.
It's awful, mate. It's awful. And I know maybe I'm overreacting first game of the season, and I did make a reaction video basically saying, we need to calm down. It's the opening game of the season. And if we look at history, it seems that when we lose the opening game of the season, we seem to finish a lot better in our final position. But come on, man. Come on, man. We got to do better than that. It's very worrying. But listen, we look forward now. We've got Ipswich next, who did get 3 points. Before we talk about Ipswich, let me read some of these comments that have come in from Michael. He says, Believer's head was turned by us last season. That's why he didn't perform. Good thing we lost to Hull, because a win would paper over the cracks. First time losing to a promoted side on the first game of the season. Yeah, I mean, it was just shocking. And I've seen us lose under Alex Ferguson before, opening game of the season, right? But it's always been like a 1-0. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it has been a 2-1 or something like that, or a 2-0, yeah. But I've always watched us absolutely pepper the other team and it just not going in. You know what I mean? And at least you come away from it thinking, oh, how did we not score? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But not against Hull. He then comes in and says Rooney saw the problem coming because Hull had a point to prove, especially the way they were promoted. And you mentioned that already, Dan, didn't you? But still, we all make a plan to stop Messi, but you can't stop Messi. Hull, they made a plan to stop Manchester United. They shouldn't be able to stop the third place team in the Premier League. Do you understand what I mean? Maguire was tackling in Burma rather than the opposition. Yeah, we touched on that. Crazy. Bruno, I mean, I haven't had a chance to touch base on him. And I think part of the reason he was awful, and this is not me making excuses for him, I am going to read out your comment here, Michael, but the ball was just not getting to him. The ball was just not getting
to him. They were crowded out, though, weren't they?
And he was trying to stay disciplined to stay up top of the pitch. So the players that we've signed can get the ball to him so he could create stuff. He was non-existent. But yeah, he lost the ball 22 times. He should start with himself before we're laying blames, and he should stay in his 10 role, drop it deep, make caused isolation for anyone up. Yeah, this basically what we were just saying now, Dad, that he did stay disciplined for a majority of the game, but then he started getting frustrated as well, saying this ball's not getting to me, Last one here from Michael. My bro said Carrick was scared of muscle injuries. That's why he reduced the intensity in pre-season. But the players would get up to speed. I just pray it soon before he gets the sack for Howe. Interesting point there to finish on his last, well, not his last comment, but his last comment for now. I mean, if there is someone waiting in the wings, it's that fella, and I really hope not. But Dan, look ahead to Ipswich. I mean, are we back on track? What do you think? It can't be another awful performance, can it?
Possibly. I mean, the problem is that there is no evidence that Carrick can get this team fit, because, like you said, I think he was riding off Amarin's fitness until that ran off. You see, ran out, so he just ran him till the wheels fell off. And has he got the capabilities? Like, going off the point slightly, they've been talking about trying to get that, I can't remember his name or how to pronounce it, that set piece coach that was there under Amarim. I think it was it under Amarim?
Really?
Or Ten Hag? One of the, because of what happened on the weekend, and we don't, to my knowledge, have a specialist set piece coach. So as you'll know,
but I mean, I wouldn't be getting that fella, because we weren't great under those two managers either.
There were certain things that they were crediting him for, but I don't know.
Mate,
but again,
2 seasons ago, we were conceding set pieces left, right, and centre, and last season we were also conceding set pieces.
I mean, I think these days when things are getting so technical, I think there probably is an argument to look out for a specialist in certain departments. So again, it never feels like we've got a specialist striker coach. The last one we had was Benny McCarthy, and I didn't think he was that great.
Mate.
He only got brought in because he was a good striker, but doesn't mean
he was decent. Yeah.
So I just think we do need specialisms, because there's a lot of top clubs that do generally have this. So again, set pieces. I don't want to be Arsenal or anything and do the whole bus stop thing and shoving and pushing and all that sort of crap, because I think that's meant to be getting phased out anyway with new rules. However, I still think we could do with someone that's a specialist to defend set pieces, because these lot clearly can't coach it into them. So But going back to your question about Ipswich, I was stupid enough to say that we would beat Hull, beat Ipswich, I think is our third game,
Mate.
beat Everton, then be really on a high and have a chance of beating City if they've started poorly. But now, I don't even know. When it comes to doing my preview show for the Ipswich game, I don't actually know which way I'm going to go with that, you know. I'm just not confident. They've got 3 points on the board. We've got 0. We've started badly. Will we
We're
be
at home,
overly
though,
fit
right?
by then?
We're at home.
And that can drag you through a little bit. But again, though, it's if they sit in a low block, can we break a low block down? That's the problem. We had 70%. There was times we had about 75% possession in parts of that game. I think
Creating
overall we had
absolutely
about
nothing.
70, and we did nothing with it. And it's all right
Yeah.
having possession, but if you can do fuck all with it,
Yeah.
and again, you've done 30, was it 34 or 38 crosses into the box? I think about 34 crosses into the box.
Oh, don't get me started on that.
Only 2 of them went to Sesko because they stopped doing it when he came on the pitch, which was weird.
No, but you know, listen, I know the ball into the box, yeah, you have to aim for someone, yeah. But I mean, not many players maybe won't admit to it, but a lot of them, they put it into a danger zone, and it's the fucking striker's job to be in the danger zone. Do you understand? And read the cross. How is this fucking 10-foot guy never on the end of any fucking headers, mate? He's never on the end of anything.
I don't think they crossed much to him, though. They did cross. I did see a couple going, but then there was one where I'm thinking, like you say, he's 10 foot tall and he's nowhere near it. How?
But this is the point, though, Dan. They're crossing the ball into the danger zone, yeah? And yes, there is an element of, come on, you've got to find him a little better, guys. But there's also an element of, no, the ball's in the danger zone, attack it. Attack it. You're a presence. Yeah. I've seen all these fucking pictures of you online looking like a big beast and you've put on muscle. Fucking win the headers in the box, man.
Yeah, at least head it down to a player to latch onto or head it towards goal or something, but you got nothing.
I don't want to drift off subject here, but I'm very, very worried. And he surprised me last year with his figures and the goals that he got, Sesko. I'm very worried about that fella. I've never been really impressed with him. His finishing somehow, worked out last season. But again yesterday, his first touch when the ball comes to him in the box, sloppy, Lukaku-esque, bounces off him. If it's not a one-touch finish, he struggles. I am not convinced that this fella is anywhere near the standard we need as our number 9.
Well, I think I said to you last season during our shows that he had a lot of non-XG goals for which club was he at? Leipzig, was he at? Whichever club, he was at RB, wasn't he? He had a lot of non-XG goals, so he was scoring screamers. So he was scoring goals he shouldn't be scoring. And I always said, that's not sustainable. So until I can see that you're a penalty box striker or whatever you are, because he's not a Kane. So you're a penalty box striker.
What is he?
So...
Thank you. Oh, do you know what? You just hit the nail on the head, Dan. You've asked me a question I'd love to ask you and whoever's watching. We've got 5 people in here. Someone tell me what type of striker Sesko is. Is he is he an out-and-out number 9 penalty box, Chicharito? I'm not even going to say Harry Kane because doesn't deserve to be in the same sentence, right? You know, is he a Diego Costa where he gets involved a little more but can create his own goals? Is he a Van Nistelrooy? What is he? What is he? Because I just don't see what the fuck he is. All I see he gets... Sometimes he gets a free yard or two, pulls the trigger, and oh, fuck me, he's just hit the back of the net. How's he done that? I am not impressed with this guy at all. You know, our top strikers over the years have all been able to play football. And what I mean by that is you could knock the ball into Van Nistelrooy at 100 miles per hour. He's going to control it, hold it up, play it to the winger, and say, bring that in here, mate. I don't care who's in the box. I'm going to get on the end of it. Same with Robin Van Persie. Same with Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole. Right? Yeah. I can't pass the ball to Sesko with 2 players around him.
Yeah,
I can't.
His control's not elite at all. The most disappointing thing with him is, I know from looking at his clips from before, is that if he strikes the ball from any distance, you're not really saving it. But we haven't seen that. So and that's why I said it wasn't sustainable anyway. But one thing I do know is that he can strike a ball, but we haven't seen it in a Man United shirt, which is very disappointing. There's been a couple of times where I thought, oh yeah, he's properly hit that, but in his locker there is a ridiculous strike in him. But going back to your sort of like your question around what type of striker is, I think he's meant to be a penalty box striker who can score from outside the box on occasion. The problem is he's not an elite. He doesn't trap the ball in an elite fashion. So the ball into him's got to be absolutely perfect, and he has to have very little pressure on him. If you give him time and space and he turns, he will score. But he's not going to be able to fashion a chance himself. He's not going to be able to create a chance. He's not going to beat a man. If he's through on goal, he's quicker than he looks. But again, he has to be in front of the defender. If the defender is running alongside him or slightly ahead of him, he's going to struggle. So I don't know what we do there. Now, is there something to work on? There should be, because he's only young. But again, it's going back to the specialist coaches. Have we got someone that can work with him day in, day out and work on his game? Because he needs to learn the way to hold. I always say in my streams, he's got to learn something where he's tall and he's strong and he's holding off. And I don't mean elbowing like that, but I just mean using his body and his height in the right manner so that he can hold defenders off.
Peter Crouch.
And he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it.
Peter Crouch has a better touch than Sesko.
Yes. He was. The thing is, Crouch was techie.
Yeah,
it doesn't look it, but it was
tells you all you need to know of the standard of striker we've gone and spent another 60-odd million on.
Crouch looked clumsy, but was actually
Crouch
decent.
had a better touch than Sesko.
Sesko looks clumsy, and a lot of time he looks clumsy. That's the problem.
You know, he scored 12 goals for Manchester United in 32 appearances. 11 of those came in the Premier League and 1 came in the EFL Cup, okay? I didn't even realise he had a game in that, in the EFL Cup. We went out that early, but yeah, he's got a goal there, right? Out of 12 goals, 1 of them has come by way of his head. Right?
Which is sad.
Of course it's fucking sad. The fella, well, how tall is this fella?
This is at least 6'4", isn't it?
Is he 6'4"?
At least.
I'm going to write this in now. How tall is Sesko? And anyone in the chat, just quickly throw it in there. I'm sure I'll get it up here anyway. 6 feet 5 inches. The geezer's nearly 2 meters tall. And he scored 1 header for Manchester United. And I can't really remember many chances of him getting on the end of them.
So he's 195 centimeters.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what that is in.
Yeah, 6 feet, 6 foot 5 inches. 6'5".
Right.
Yeah. The guy's a giant, for fuck's sake.
You know, I mean, everything Haaland does, he should be not. I said that wrong. A lot of stuff that Haaland can do because of his height, he should be doing because of his height.
I mean, I'm not being funny. When we're signing a striker, we are trying to find the next Haaland. And that is the profile of what Sesko's supposed to be. He hasn't got the pace. He hasn't got the strength. He hasn't got the technical ability. He's well off it. How this fella scored 12 goals for us last season, again, I'm in awe. And if he manages it again, Jesus, I'll apologise, but I do not know how he's done it. I do not know how he's done it.
He shouldn't struggle to get that, though, really.
You know, Michael comes in here. It's not too late to get Osman. If we pay him 300k a week, I'm hearing Bruno doesn't want to sign a new contract. Sesko isn't a target man. His height and pace are deceptive. He's on the same page as us here, Michael. I don't want to sound ungrateful for someone who got us 12 goals last season, 11 of those in the Premier League. Because you take away those 11 goals, we do not finish third. He scored some valuable goals, and I thank you for that, Sesko. It's not like you're one of the 5 people watching this show anyway, right? But, mate, I have to call it how it is, bruv. Like, you came on, and I know you've been injured, and it's pre-season. But what have you been doing in pre-season? You've been injured all pre-season? What have you been doing?
Yeah.
You know, what have you been doing? Because what you should have been doing is kicking the ball against the wall and learning how to control it. What you should have been doing is kicking the ball against the wall, taking a touch and shooting against another wall. Like, I'm no
He used to go to Berbatov's house and do what he does at home.
So funny you mentioned Berbatov. Here comes Michael. Why can't we get Rooney or Berbatov as a striker coach? You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying any of those would fix it, right? But this fella has had the whole of pre-season to work and come back top of his game. He was awful when he came in.
Yeah, but what Michael's saying there, it's funny you should say that, because I heard Rooney saying the other day, I think it was in that first thing he's doing now with Goldbridge on that stick to United, he said what Sesko's doing wrong is he's not getting close enough to his defender. So it's a bit like what I was saying earlier about having that stature to hold your defender off. And what he meant by that is that get into your defender, let the ball come into you, hold them off, spin, turn, shoot, or get a yard on them. But he's picking the ball up too far away and giving himself too much work to do. And he's not a Rooney type player that can do loads of different things. He's very limited to what he can do, which is fine. If you're excellent at it, that's fine. But he's not excellent at anything at the minute. So he needs to perfect his craft, which is going to be in and around that box and being able to spin and shoot and use those strengths that he's got. But he's not doing... Someone needs to tell him this. And I can't understand why I know it, you know it, but Carrick doesn't know this. So someone's got to tell him to amend his game slightly, and it won't take much to amend his game, but someone's got to tell him this, and it's right. Can we not get a Rooney? Can we not get a Berbatov? Or someone, I mean, again, I don't want to just say, oh, you was a striker and he was really good to bring you in, but when you used to listen to like Van Persie's got a lot of knowledge around his game and what he does, and you just want someone like that that's got so much knowledge, but also a lot of respect. So if you've got like a, again, Berbatov, if he knows his stuff, which I've listened to him speak and he knows his stuff, he'd be a good coach. Ibrahimovic, you know, people like this that have got stature but knowledge of their game, and especially because they're similar profile to him, he would benefit from this massively. But
I do hear you.
They never seem to do it.
I do hear you, but I do think it needs to come from the player as well, you know. And what I mean by that,
he's got to work on stuff.
I don't know what he's been doing. I don't know what he's been doing whilst the World Cup's been on, you know. Yeah, has he been having a holiday? Has he been chilling? You know, do you want to be one of the legendary Manchester United strikers? Because if you work the whole of pre-season, come into this season and score 20 to 30 goals in the Premier League this season and push us to win a title, you do realise, Sesko, you're in the bracket of Van Persie, you're in the bracket of Ruud van Nistelrooy, you're in the bracket of Dwight York and Andy Cole. 100% he would be. If he's the number 9, that I know he's not number 9 because Marcus Rashford is, and we'll get on to him shortly. But if you're going to be the number 9 to take us back to Premier League glory, your name will be in lights. But what have you been doing? I don't know what you've been doing.
But you know yourself when you're a bit younger, you can work on the wrong things. I can bring this to like the gym arena because I know you work in gyms and personal trainer, all that sort of stuff. I go to the gym and I know I come across young people in the gym. Some of them do the wrong things countless times and they don't listen and they don't want to listen, or they don't want to take the knowledge of an older person. But in this, I do feel like Sesko is receptive to stuff because he listens to Bruno a lot. But the thing is, one thing Bruno can't do over a Rooney, over a Berbatov, is tell someone how to properly strike a ball, but also how to create space for yourself inside the box. There's a skill to it, but there's also some nous to it where you can learn some of these bits and pieces. And I think that's where he's lacking for me. And I just don't understand why it's not being addressed.
I feel bad. We've spent like 15, 20 minutes going.
No, because I think there's something there. I like Sesko. It's just that I've always said, even when he scores, and hopefully you'll notice it this season, whether you agreed or didn't agree, just watch him when he scores, just see if he's got the same appetite to get the second goal, because I never saw it last season. He scored one. I think he only scored twice one game. That's it. And
it's funny you say that.
One and then he drops off.
Look what
the
Michael
appetite's
says
not
here.
there.
Rooney says Sesko's flaw in his game is that he doesn't have the natural killing instinct of a striker. He needs to work on his anticipation, and he's fast and has power in his shots. So, I mean, you're on the same page. For me, I do not see what I want to see.
No, I mean, I love strikers. I've always loved strikers, and I've loved my strikers over the years. I've loved York. I know he wasn't quite a striker, but I loved York. I loved Cole. I loved Hughes, Mark Hughes. I loved Van Nistelrooy. I really loved Van Nistelrooy. He was the type of striker I really loved who just didn't give a shit.
Oh, what, mate? I'll be honest. It's a close one with him and Van Persie for me because
Van Persie, I really liked Van Persie as well.
When he came, I mean, he was sensational that year under Ferguson.
That year,
just quality. I mean, his first game, that volley, Evra crossed it in and he hits it first time. I mean, Van Persie was something special that year. But if I just take away that Van Persie year, Ruud van Nistelrooy's got to be my favourite Manchester United striker because he came in at a time after Dwight Yorke and Andy Cole that I thought we're never going to replace that duo. You know, the stuff they were doing was just out of this world. The dummies, the 1-2s, what they did at the new camp was just, know. And for Van Nistelrooy to come and just completely change our look on what our strikers are supposed to do. He became a lone type striker.
Yeah.
And he was, I mean, he's got to be my favourite striker for Manchester United. Ruud van Nistelrooy.
And like I say, I've watched a lot over the years, even like the R9 type of striker. Back in the day, I loved Serie A, so there's loads of strikers
Claudio
there I liked
Lopez,
as well.
Christian Vieri, Crespo.
But even like him at Fiorentina, it's like Batistuta. There was some real proper badass strikers back in the day.
That's done now, right? Them days are done.
It is. But what I'm trying to say is that what I'm looking for, and again, even like Ibrahimovic coming a bit late for us, but the quality was there. So it's like I know what I need in my striker. So, and again, I like a hungry striker. So Van Nistelrooy was hungry. For the goals. Cole was hungry for the goals. I like a striker that will be like, I don't just want to settle for one. I want 1, 2, 3.
I'm on the same page. I'm on the same page as you.
You know what I mean?
am on the same
I just
page
don't
as you.
think he's got that in him. He ain't got that hunger to
I
score.
just think we're
Xerxes
in an era
the same.
now. Yeah, I mean, Xerxes not a striker, but we're in an era. We're in an era now where those players that we've just spoken about, and we've done it before, like it's nostalgia. They're not around anymore. Michael's mentioned a few here as coaches. Miroslav Klose, right? He's mentioned Raul.
Quality.
These for striker coaching. These are all just top. I mean, even someone like remember Luca Toni for the Italian. Yeah. He wasn't nowhere near those guys, right? That we've mentioned, but that guy still scored a lot of goals, right? And the days
Podolski even
now we've got Igor Thiago as the go-to striker in the league, right? Shocking. And
then there's one freak in Haaland. That's it.
I watched that Igor Thiago. That fella.
I never rated him. Everybody was going on about him.
What did he get? Like 20 goals last season?
Something silly. You won't get that again.
He is awful. But this
even
is the
Isak,
league.
There's certain people.
Oh my goodness. My brother-in-law's a Liverpool fan. And before the kickoff of the league, I said, you guys have had the worst transfer window I've probably ever seen since watching football. You guys are in major trouble. You've got a good manager, and Michael loves their manager, doesn't he? But who are you hanging your hat on? VVD's at the end of his tenure a little bit here, and you kind of saw that in the first goal they conceded. He's backing off Ozala. He's like backing off him, not sure. They play in Elanga. It's just, fantastic centre back, but his days are coming to a very quick end.
It's been mentioned already, but Osimhen would be the one for me now as a proper hang your hat on striker now.
But they've lost Salah. They've lost Salah, right, Liverpool? And I asked him, so, I mean, who are you hanging your hat on now? Trent's gone. Salah's gone. VVD's there, but he's practically gone. And he says, Isak. And I said, mate.
Not at the moment, anyway. It's not looking great at the moment. No chance.
There's no strikers out there anymore, apart from one man that you just mentioned, and that's Osimhen. And someone needs to take a punt on him. Someone.
Yeah,
it's not happening. But listen, anyway, it's not all Sesko's fault. He only came on for, 15 minutes or so? 15, 20 minutes?
He's got to get back into things,
but Dan,
needs a run
that's
again.
Why he came on, though, right? That's why he came on, because we needed a goal, and he was well off it.
Yeah, he was. He
absolutely
didn't look
well
like
off it.
scoring, did he? No.
Briefly, Rashford. I mean, you thought he looked sharp. He looked strong. He looked athletic. He's wearing the number 9. We thought it was going to be the number 14, but it's the number 9. I mean, I won't deny that I was happy to kind of see him back, and obviously had my fingers crossed that he was going to have a major impact. Were you impressed with his little cameo since coming on? I think it was second half he came on.
No, the word impressed, I'd have to say not impressed. But problem is, it's we were that bad. Anybody that showed something was going to look really good, and I think that was an element of it as well. And I think he came on. I think he had no option but to give it a go and give it a try. He was trying to be positive. He was trying to beat a couple of men. He might have had a shot here and there. He tried to cross. I mean, some of it, the thing is, he was getting praised a lot to say, oh, he came on, he had the right attitude, and he played pretty well. And I think he did play okay. But if you go, and I haven't had the chance to look back at the game, but I can remember a couple of his crosses were at, and again, I'm not a high-level footballer or anything, but a couple of his crosses were like at shin height. And it is, for me, a cross either needs to be along the ground, like a cutback, or it needs to be head height for it to be useful. Don't get me wrong, a top striker could have it chest height and do something with it, or even shin height and do something with it. But generally speaking, it's along the floor or in the air. And it was neither. It was times where it was shin height. You can't do anything with that. You can't do anything at shin height for me unless you're free and open, where you can sort of probably control it down to the ground and give it a strike. You can't do much with that. So it was just coming at silly angles, silly heights. It's not the height that he'd want it if he was in the box. And I always think sometimes you've got some strikers can deliver a really nice ball. So I remember Solskjaer back in the day, Ollie would be able to deliver a really nice cross. I think even Van Nistelrooy did a couple of times because they know where to put it for a striker. And that's my issue with that as well. It's like, it's all right coming on and looking a bit nice and looking like you were trying to do something and, you know, you were linking up a little bit with Shaw and stuff. That's all fine. But your end product's still shocking for me. And I think unless he gets that yard of space where he can sort of knock it inside and give it a strike, and maybe it goes top corner or bottom corner or whatever, what does he offer? So I think, again, looking at overall performance, he was one sort of shiny light, but should we have been turning to Rashford, the guy that we were trying to, and you've said this yourself, the guy we were trying to get rid of, should we be turning to him to save us? So it's embarrassing, really. And don't get me wrong, I like Rashford, generally speaking. I hope, because he's staying now, I hope it works out and he actually does get at least 10 goals this season. But I don't know. It wasn't great. And when you look at it overall, it just wasn't great for me. And last, we were talking about crosses. Cunha crossed a couple of times. I'm thinking, you were a striker at the time. You're crossing to the box and you should be there. So yeah, weird stuff.
I touched base on Cunha on my reaction. I mean, listen, we could go through the whole team, can't we? You know, the fact that we've still got Luke Shaw at left back, and
yeah, he shouldn't be there. Maguire in his 8th season.
Yeah. I mean, Heaven, you can't. I don't want to make a big deal about him because he had a good end to last season, but he didn't play too well against Hull. He was late into challenges, lunging here, lunging there, giving the ball away as well.
He does that a lot.
Masraoui's gone back to his original form. You know, now he's taking his Now he's taking his Morocco shirt off. He's back to, you know, he thought let me look like Mbermo a little bit. Maybe that will up my game. It hasn't, you know. And then, you know, you go to Dorgu left wing. I mean, I said this on my match reaction. It's worrying because he must be performing really well in training. And that must mean the standard of the team in general is low. Because if he's looking good in training in that position, fuck me, mate. We're in trouble.
I think, I don't think it's just primarily that. I think some of it is Carrick wanting a bit of width, and he's more of a touchline than Cunha is. And you don't want to rely on Rashford straight away. But ultimately, if you got Rashford up and running, you wouldn't play Dorgu. And I've always said, don't get me wrong, I loved it when he scored his goal against Arsenal, and there was all this Dorgu best and Ballon Dorgu bullshit going on. But I always said he got brought in as a wing back. He was no good at well, I shouldn't say no good, but he wasn't particularly great at that. I don't even know if he can be a left back.
Yeah.
And he was a winger because we were short one day, and everybody forgets Amarim put him on the wing first. He put him on the right wing first, and everybody forgets that. Not everybody. I'm sure you remember yourself. But a lot of people that talk
I hear you.
I get listened to forget that it was Amarin that put him on the wing first. And then I think Fletcher tried it, and then Carrick tried it, and it worked for Carrick because he started scoring, and then he got injured. But is he a winger? No, he's not a winger. He's not a winger because he can't beat a man.
No.
And he only does well when you play against teams where he can go in behind because he's got a bit of pace. But I keep saying he is no better than Elanga. Now, if you rate Elanga, fine, but I don't. So he's no better
I
than
don't rate Elanga, but I'd rather have Elanga on the wing. I would.
He's probably more effective overall because he's more used to being a winger.
Yes. But, and he's got more quality getting in behind, and Elanga's quality is not that high, trust me.
He's not too dissimilar to Wan-Bissaka, you know, as well, to a certain extent.
I mean, I think
he's very clumsy on the ball still for me.
Yes, so
he's
true.
Just very one-footed and very
his touch takes the ball away from him, and he's chasing it. I mean,
he's always straight lines, and that's it.
He's always 5 seconds away from studding someone in the leg, isn't he? Because he's just overhit the pass or overhit the ball. Yeah. I do not like him.
Even that goal he scored in pre-season, he scored against AC Milan, and that wasn't a good strike. It went in. It shouldn't have gone in. And he had a pretty much open goal. It shouldn't have gone in, that strike.
Then you've got Burma on the right, and we've already touched base on him, you know. Good player, but he doesn't know if he's a number 9. He doesn't know if he's on the right. He was originally brought in to be one of the number 10s. You can see he's a little bit confused in what he's supposed to be doing. I ain't even going to talk about the 2 fat boys in the centre that ate Casemiro. They need to improve a hell of a lot. I can't believe what they put up in the opening game of the season, those two, after being, you know, meant to be the heartbeat and the cure for Manchester United moving forward. What a shocking
It was sad to see us go back to Bruno and Meno in the middle. That was sad to see that. That should not have happened.
Yeah. It was sad to see. And then, you know, the subs that came on, we've already touched base on Sesko. Mainu did come on, you know, and Mainu's obviously not fancied by many people. I'm notoriously one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, did he come on? Did he come on the pitch?
I think he did all right.
I'm
again,
asking
was
you,
it anything
maybe I have
special?
got tinted glasses when I watch him, right? But I just think he now, despite the 2 fat boys being absolutely shocking, right? The only person he's ahead of in our midfield is Ugarte. Because everyone else, Baleba, Tielemans, Santos, even Mason Mount are all going to be ahead of Kobe Mainu. I've got a funny feeling this fella's back to square one, and he's going to think Amarim's arrived this season.
I don't know.
Tell me.
There's a lot of options. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of combinations, and I think there is enough games to go around for them all to play a decent amount of games. To be honest, if Carrick isn't a pussy and actually rotates, there's also, and I don't think he'll do this, but there's also scope to play 3 and drop Bruno out. But at times, I don't mean all the time, because I love Bruno and I think he's very effective. But I think there's even times where you consider, and you'll never do it because he's the captain and is the talisman and all this sort of stuff. But there's even argument to drop Bruno out at times and have a 3 where you might have Baleba, Tielemans and Meno, or Baleba, Santos and Meno, and have a 3 combination and do a bit of a diamond. But I can't see him doing it because, again, if you went into a diamond, you have to then rely on the wing backs or have a wing back type of thing. And we don't have Shaw or a Dallo that can actually bomb on, beat a man, cross the ball, or create. So it's not going to work. So yeah, I think Mano will get games because I think Carrick really likes him, and I think there is an element of, dare I say, English bias at times. And I think that's why he loves Shaw. He'll always back Shaw. He'll always back Maguire. and they'll get games. They'll get game time. I think Mano will get game time. He loves him, and there'll be an element. There'll be an element of when they've asked him the question around what's your thoughts on him not playing a minute in the World Cup. You could see his reactions like, well, I'm going to play him. So I get what you're saying to a certain extent, but I think he'll get minutes under Carrick, to be honest. The best combination.
Minutes how, though, as a substitution, yeah?
I just think when he's up to speed, he'll play. Right now, he's probably ahead of both Santos and Tielemans in Carrick's eyes after that last game. Seriously.
Wow.
Seriously. Because I don't think he was very impressed with them too. Now, I don't think the problem is there were two sides to that game for them too, in particular. On the ball, they were fine. They just didn't have enough in front of them to go off. Off the ball, they were shocking. Absolutely shocking. Now, Baleba is not going to be in properly until probably October. So he didn't have to worry about Baleba. He'll want a bit of mobility. So I have a feeling against Ipswich, Mano will start. And he'll probably start with, I'm going to say, Santos. He might start with Santos. Him and Santos will probably start that game against Ipswich. I know you don't think that, but I've got a sneaky feeling that he'll drop one of them two and put Mano in instead. Seriously,
I don't think he drops Tielemans. I think he really likes Tielemans. I think he likes his technical ability, etc. But listen, you're not far wrong. They were both awful, weren't they? So for them to get a second,
they just don't work together. They just don't work together because they're both wanting. Ultimately, they're both wanting to do the same thing. They're not. I thought I was quite rating Santos in pre-season, but I always said as a caveat, it's pre-season, so you've got to be careful. I think the problem is with Santos is he is again probably better on the ball than off the ball, but still needs legs around him for that to work. And Tielemans is the same, probably better on the ball than off the ball, but needs legs around him. So this is why they've pushed so heavily for Baleba, because he's better off the ball than all of them. So it's going to be interesting to see. But the fitness is wrong. As we've said at the start of the show, the fitness is wrong.
But he's done no fitness. Done no fitness. And Tielemans confirmed that. Anyway, look, it's worrying times, and it's only one game, so we do need to calm down, and things can change very quickly. You know, last season, I remember Liverpool were the holders. They started the season really well, right? I think they won all of their games. I think they even went to the Emirates and won, if I'm not mistaken. That Szoboszlai free kick. That Szoboszlai free kick that went in to win the game. And it was like, these guys are definitely going to win the league again. And then, boom, the rest is history. Slot got sacked. And here we are. Things change very quickly, you know. Arsenal, they look like they're going to run away with the league here. There's no contenders. You know, they've just played Coventry. They could play a mid-table team tomorrow and lose. And then you start scratching your head saying, oh, my God, I think Chelsea are going to win the league because they looked fantastic. And their strike force looks irresistible. Xavi Alonso's got them playing amazing football. So it just changes like the wind. So we also, as Manchester United fans, and I'm probably speaking to myself more than anyone, just need to calm down. But I just think against the favourites to go down, against the team
was worrying.
Against the team that finished sixth in the championship, that's
it. That's the worst team that's qualified.
Yeah. Very, very worrying.
So it is worrying.
It's very, very worrying. So I mean, listen, we're coming to the end of our show, but quick prediction against Ipswich. Dan, I mean, how you feel? You've practically said how you're feeling about it, but what do you think? Do you think we get a result there? Meaning, do we win at Old Trafford? Yeah, do we get the 3 points?
I'm feeling that there's got to be that's got to be the wake up call, losing against Hull, and it's got to wake them all up and say, "Fuck me, no." People can say what they want, but I feel that those players thought they would roll up to Hull and roll them over, and they got a shock. They've got to be up for it now and put Ipswich to bed. Now, is it going to be a silly score like 3-4, 5-0? No chance, in my opinion, no chance. It will still be close, but surely, and this is more hope and optimism more than anything else, that we've got to rectify that first day mistake and beat Ipswich. Is all I can say right now. But I have fears that it could be another shock. Or will it be a shock if we lose, to be fair? But yeah, I've got fears, though, at the same time that it could be a shock. Because
Mate,
I just don't think we're ready for the season. I really don't. It's sad to say, but I just don't think we're ready.
Michael's come in here and said we're losing against Ipswich. You know, after the game,
And you might be right.
I said to my dad, mate, like, can we get a permanent interim manager? Like, is that possible? Because it seems that any time one of our interims turn permanent, or anytime we just assign a permanent manager, the players just fall off a fucking cliff. The patterns of play fall off a fucking cliff. The desire falls off a fucking cliff. We need to get a permanent interim manager. Permanent interim. And that's it. He could win the fucking quadruple. And the question will be, surely you're a permanent manager. No, I'm just an interim. That's what it needs to be. Because anytime
changing it every
give
6
a
months.
manager a job, this is it. The players are fucking shocking. And I mean, Michael said something a little shocking here, and I'm sure he'll explain himself. He says, I'm glad we are losing. Has he kind of fallen, you know, faith with Ineos? Is that gone for you, Michael? Or is this a case of, are you kind of where I'm at secretly, which is, I'm going to say it here now. I said a little while back, and he's coming now, and it seems to be Ineos that he's kind of fed up with.
Yeah,
and
I thought where we were going with that.
Yeah, Ineos would be forced to sign a left back and maybe a number 9 if we keep losing. Yeah, that's where he's going with it. I'm going further back than that. Though. Yeah, I'm going further back than that for me. And Carrick deserved the job because of the performances he put in last season and where he got us to finish. But you remember that prediction when he first got the job, Dan? And I was like, he'll be sacked before the end of the season. And I swallowed my words there because, look, he finished 3rd and got the job. I'm not trying to redeem myself because I don't want that prediction to come true. But
no.
Honestly, you know how at the start of the season I was optimistic and I thought, you know what, if there's any team that can challenge Arsenal, it's us. We've kind of signed a few midfielders. If we can start well by beating Hull, beating Ipswich and building some momentum, we could be in a title race. This could go the opposite way, Dan, and 10 games in, we ain't got a win.
Yeah, if you don't beat
and what happens?
It's going to be free fall. It will be free fall.
Do you see what I'm saying, Dan? And I said he'd be
that twat who hadn't cut his hair is reset, by the way.
Oh, of course.
Let's not forget that.
Reset. I mean, that fucking... Listen,
exactly.
Good luck to him. Listen, he's done well on social media and fair play to him, whatever. But he's the last... It'll be in my thoughts again when we get to 4 in a row, but I don't see us doing that.
I don't want to even think about him, but unfortunately,
to finish, am I being a bit dramatic and overreacting that this could turn into free fall, and Carrick could lose his job before we even know it, before we even blink?
Well, I have been saying that I don't want to say this, but I've predicted that he might lose his job by Christmas.
Wow!
I didn't know that. Yeah, I'm sure I said it on one of our last shows, but because I think there was one show we did where you came across a bit more optimistic than me, which I was quite shocked about.
Yeah,
because I was optimistic when he came in and I saw a couple of stuff happening. I was quite optimistic, and I know you were saying, "Oh, he'll probably end up getting sacked." I still feel there's that chance that he's going to get sacked because, like you've just said there, we go through cycles. We've done the sack a coach, bring Ollie in. Oh, give him the job because he's done well. Or sack Ollie. Right, let's get a proper coach. Right, let's get an old player again. So we're doing this vicious cycle. City aren't doing this. Chelsea aren't doing this. You know, Arsenal aren't doing this. So I know Arsenal have got an ex-player in charge, funnily enough, who's actually won the league. But generally speaking, we can't keep doing this same mistake all the time. But no, I don't think so. I don't think you're overreacting. There isn't a lot of optimism from my end. I just think if we lose against Ipswich, I am very worried because the next game then is Everton, who could beat us on their day. It will be at Everton's place as well. And then you've got City soon after that. And then the fifth game, I can't remember what the fifth game is. And then before you know it, it could be international
Before
break.
you know it,
then,
you've lost 5 in a row instead of
Yeah.
fucking winning 5.
and then you're stewing over it on an international break, and then you might have someone like a Liverpool next. So we've got to beat Ipswich, and if we don't, I think it is free fall, and I think it is starting to write the writings on the wall straight away for Carrick. And can he react to that level of pressure? Because he's not been under it so far, because he was interim, he was the hero. But can he sustain proper, I'm the actual full-time coach pressure? We will see.
We will see. And look, hopefully he comes through this, gets a result against Ipswich. And I'm not talking paper over the cracks results. I need a good performance. I need a dominant performance. I need chances. We need to be off. You know, we look forward to watching Manchester United play. And that is the philosophy. Forget fucking Amorim systems, formations. Entertain us. Entertain us.
Yeah.
That's why we love you.
I don't mind counter-attacking, because counter-attacking sounds like a swear word, but transition sounds sexy, because that's what Liverpool do. We counter-attack, Liverpool transition. Bullshit. We both counter-attack. Problem is when you come up against a Hull, when you can't counter-attack, have you got a plan B, Carrick? You're looking at Holland. You're right, Holland. What we're going to do about this? We can't break them down. Don't know. Just
we've been struggling. We've been struggling with low blocks for a long time.
It's not Carrick's fault that, but if Carrick's the man, break them down.
He has to fix it. He has to fix it. You're right.
You're in charge now. No excuses.
You're spot on. I'm very worried about Ipswich to close this up. I'm very worried about Ipswich, and I guess it's just Manchester United in general, and that's what comes with being a massive club, is that we're already looking at Ipswich like a cup final. Fuck me.
This is it.
We're the second game into the season. How can we be looking at it like a cup final? You know what I mean?
It makes me think about Rio's comments, and I don't agree with them, by the way. But really quickly, Rio's been saying we need to stop thinking like the big club back in the day when he was there under Fergie, and just accept that we're not that club anymore and drop our standards. That's pretty much what he's saying. I don't agree with that, by the way, because the reason I don't agree with it is because try and tell Real Madrid that. Try and tell Barcelona that. Try and tell Bayern Munich that.
Correct.
So you can be a big club for pretty much ever.
Forever.
Because you can't tell Bayern Munich that or Real Madrid that, because they'll
be stubborn. Be stubborn. Don't drop the standards ever.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Recycle,
go again. Recycle, go again. Look at Man City, right? Let's just use them as an example here, right? They didn't look great the other day. Somehow they've mustered out a result, and fair play to them, right? Fair play to them, right? When I saw them turn that game around, I was like, fair enough. They've gone and got Buwadi. You know, they're in the market now to get, apparently, I mean, I don't know what they're doing going around Cody Gakpo, right? But the point is, I can't believe I'm saying this, they are not allowing the standards to drop.
But they still want Enzo, apparently.
They want Enzo Fernandez, right, who got booed off the pitch yesterday by his own fans. I think it was his own fans. It sounded like the whole fucking stadium, right, when he came on. They're not dropping this. You hit the nail on the head. Real Madrid don't drop their standards. Barcelona don't drop. These teams do not drop their standards. And then you've got players like Rio Ferdinand saying that we should just accept where we're at and drop our standards. Mate, do you know what, Ferdinand? Just do content on Arsenal like everyone else does.
Well, he is an Arsenal. It feels like somebody else that we've talked about that feels like an Arsenal down.
Just do content on Arsenal if you're going to tell us Manchester United fans and the club to drop our standards. Just talk about Arsenal and how scary and amazing they are. Just follow the trend.
He's used those words as well. The scary.
Right? Because I don't need to hear you. You've done great for the club, but I don't need to hear you talk about dropping standards. You know, because you come from a cloth and a school. That isn't the case. No, we're here to compete. We're here to win everything. You know what I'm saying? Telling us to drop standards, mate. Go and support Arsenal, bruv. Go and do content on Arsenal. You know, it's just ridiculous. Anyway, we're in a bad mood, and rightfully so. But hopefully next time we speak, Dan, and my next match reaction is a positive one. We play Sunday at 4:30. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that's correct. Yeah, yeah.
So we've got to wait an extra day to see that game, and it's a late one on a Sunday.
At least it
Ruin
doesn't
my
ruin your
weekend.
weekend.
No,
Yeah.
it will, because it will ruin the majority ending of it, right? It still will.
Yeah,
That's
the
the
ending
thing,
of
yeah.
it.
That's the thing, right? It can happen early and ruin your weekend. But the positive about losing early on a Saturday is you just kind of enjoy the rest of the games and accept it pretty early and kind of just, you know
Yeah.
what, let me
And
enjoy
it
some
helps if
family
other
time.
teams lose, but then freaking Liverpool got away with a draw.
Yeah, I mean, I
Bastards.
don't know what Lewis Hall was doing there. I mean, you know, we're linked with Lewis Hall and who had a good game against Liverpool, but for goodness sake, talk about throwing the game away. But I don't want to get into that for another
No.
10 minutes. But sometimes losing late on a weekend kind of puts you in that.
It
Oh
was nice to
my
see
God.
Spurs lose after they spent all that money on midfield.
Yeah. Michael's come in and said on a light note, nothing new because Spurs is being Spursy. But it's very worrying that you and Michael are feeling good about, like you're putting us in that same bracket, you know?
It's not so much the same bracket. I'm just laughing more about the midfield.
No,
So
you're
obviously
right.
we wanted the two midfielders they bought in a way. Maybe Man United didn't want Tonali, but we would have had Tonali
Yeah,
probably. Well, I would have done. Fernandez, I really wanted him at the time until the price got stupid. But it was just funny how much they spent, and I've respected them for spending so much for De Zerbi.
And they've
And I
kept
think De
going.
Zerbi's a better coach than
Savinho's
Carrick.
just changed his name, hasn't he, to Savio or whatever, and
Mm.
Marmouche apparently
Marmouche
as
is
well.
coming in. So I just thought it was quite laughable that they ended up losing after a lot of banter and seeing people like expressions thinking, yeah, we've won the transfer window and all this sort of stuff. And they're thinking
They've done fantastic. I mean,
know.
no Premier League manager has ever been backed as much as De Zerbi has, right?
No,
And
no.
fair play. If
Fair
we
play
need
to
to,
them.
we
I mean,
need
they
to be
could
back.
turn it around, can't they? But
No, it's game. It's game
game
week one, and
yeah.
Listen, I've not been positive about Manchester United. I can't be here and be positive about Spurs.
No.
But at least they fucking gone for it here in the transfer
Yeah,
market.
exactly. They're trying out. They've
Although
got some ambition.
going for it in the transfer market and still got Richarlison and
Yeah.
whoever else up
front. Terrible.
I mean, what the fuck, man? You know what I mean? But listen, we kick on. We stay positive. It is worrying signs. Let's hope it's not free fall. Let's hope I'm wrong in regards to that early prediction I made about Carrick losing his job as soon as he got it. Let's hope that doesn't come to fruition because this can get very scary very quickly, to be honest with you.
Easily, yeah.
But guys, please go and subscribe to Dan Talks United. He does a hell of a lot more shows and reactions than I do. I'm going to try now and do reactions after games again and do videos. So please, if you haven't seen that last one, go there, drop a comment, drop a like to hopefully push it out into the algorithm so more people can see my perspective and ranting on Manchester United. But listen, it's been emotional in the emotion room. Thanks for doing Tuesday with us. I could not do yesterday. Dan, thanks for doing this evening. And I shall catch you all on the next one. Speak to you all guys very, very soon. Take care, people. Bye-bye.